What is up, everyone? Today we're showcasing you my lucky hundo Kommo-o for the Master League Premier Classic. Kommo-o is a new addition to this meta, and because of its dragon fighting typing, it has some really unique matchups. Overall, it's a dragon that does regular dragon things, you know, like losing super hard to any charmer. But more importantly, it does things other dragons cannot do, like beating steel types because of close combat. Like I said, it's super weak to Charmers though, which is why I'm pairing it with Magnezone in the lead as an anti-Charmer. Besides that, Magnezone can also deal with Gyarados and like Dragon Breath users, which Kommo-o can also struggle with. Then in the middle, I'm bringing Dragon Breath Gyarados. This is my safe switch. If I don't see a Charmer in the lead or Fairy type in the lead, I will switch into Gyarados because generally that will lure out the Charmer, and once Gyarados has lured out the Charmer, Kommo-o doesn't have to face it anymore, which means a lot of time it can sweep, and it did sweep a couple of times. It really performed very well, so we're gonna pop into these battles now. This first game up against a Shadow Dragonite in the lead. Magnezone is okay here, but the problem with Magnezone over other steel types is that it does kind of struggle versus some of these Dragon Breath users, but especially in two shields, but that's why I just go straight mirror shot here. I'm very content with just taking the shield advantage here, letting the Magnezone go down, and now farming down with the Gyarados. A lot of these Dragonite lead teams aren't super strong against Gyarados in the back, since generally they don't pair, or they generally just don't carry a Magnezone because that'd be super weak against Excadrill, or a Charmer because that'd also be super weak against steel types. So Gyarados generally very strong, and as you can see here, the Excadrill comes in. I'm just gonna go for the Aqua Tail, and now after this, I'm gonna try to catch the next Rock Slide. Oh my Kommo-o, I do get the catch, but my opponent makes an amazing play and actually threw the Duran onto my Gyarados. That is a very smart move because the Duran would have KO'd my Gyarados anyway, and that makes it very safe just in case I try to catch, which I did. So that ended up working out for him. Not for me though, because that did a lot more damage than I wanted to. In comes the Metagross. He tries to catch a close combat on this Dragonite, but that doesn't happen. That's very good for me. I get some extra farm now. I have built up to 2 close combats. Unfortunately though, I don't think this knocks out, but it should do a lot of damage. In comes the close combat. It does a good chunk, brings it to a range where an Aqua Tail cannot KO. Can I get to it? I barely get to the Aqua Tail. This is like right on the edge though. Does it knock him out? It does knock him out, and it is a good first win. Alright, Haxorus Lead, super bad. Switch into Gyarados. Again, that is my safe switch. Though, you will see me switch into Kommo-o later in this video as well. I think there are certain scenarios where that might be a good play. In comes the Walrein. And this is an interesting pick. It's very bulky, so this crunch won't do that much, but I do get a defense drop, which is quite huge. This Ice Skill Spear will not KO. This is the problem I have with Walrein. I do like it. I think it's pretty decent in this meta, but it's just so weak. The moves just do no damage, and they're actually gonna have to shoot up my crunch here. This brings him into a range where I can hopefully farm down with the zone, especially after that defense drop. Look at these sparks. They do so much damage. It's like a couple % a piece, so pretty good. The Earthquake, that's not bad. We see some lag here. Doesn't really matter. In comes the Haxorus now. I'm just going to Wild Charge straight away because this will do a lot of damage to Haxorus. Even though it's resisted, Haxorus is quite squishy. I'll bring in Kommo-o now to start pumping out this Dragon Tail damage. They throw a move. This Dragon Claw will do a lot of damage, so definitely shooting it up. In comes a Gyarados, and luckily it is a Waterfall Gyarados. And Kommo-o is super strong versus a Waterfall Gyarados, because I resist basically everything. Normally, I usually, whenever I run Waterfall Gyarados, I always recommend you run Outrage, but I've noticed a lot of Waterfall Gyarados are actually running Crunch Aqua Tail, and with the Crunch Aqua Tail moveset, Kommo-o just absolutely walls. Just completely walls Gyarados, because everything is resisted. Opponent knows and he concedes. GG. By the way, talking about Waterfall Gyarados, you could also run Waterfall Gyarados in this team. Actually, that was my original ID, but I forgot to TM. And once I ran Dragon Breath Gyarados a couple times, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty nice. I'll just keep it for now. But you could definitely run Waterfall Gyarados. Back in the day, last season, or season before as well, I used to run this same team with Haxorus instead of Kommo-o, but I would run Waterfall Gyarados in that case, and it works super good as well. But definitely with Outrage, you need Outrage then, because you're using it as a safe switch, and if a Dragon comes in, you definitely want to be able to hit it with an Outrage. Anyway, they switched in a Dragonite versus my Magnezone. I double wild charge this, took a shield, took health, and now my Gyarados has energy, and I'll be able to fire a Crunch against this Metagross. This Meteor Mesh shouldn't knock me out, but it's a Psychic, so it does. That is quite unfortunate. I will bring in the Zone here. Hopefully I can get to the move before they can switch, but they couldn't, or I couldn't, and they bring in the Garchomp versus my Magnezone, and this is really bad. Because this thing will get farm, I won't even take that much health. But it might be in a range where I can Dragon Tail down. But look at this, I don't get my Dragon Tail through. And this is gonna prove to be very costly. I shield this just in case it's an Outrage. And look at this, because I didn't get my Dragon Tail through, they get to another move here. If this KOs, I'm dead. Doesn't KO though, it actually does nothing. I get to the close combat with Kommo-o, and this will knock out the Metagross. Well, not yet. This knocks out the Metagross. It is a GG. Sirfetched Lead, really bad. I bring in Kommo-o. In comes Togekiss. Bye bye. I top left. That's over. That's over. That charm level so much. Machamp Lead, I switch in Kommo-o. Fighter Lead is one where I would kind of recommend you switch in your Kommo-o, to be honest. You could also switch in Gyarados. It's kind of your preference. You can do either. What I've noticed is a lot of Fighting League teams actually don't carry a Charmer in the back. So you're kind of safe switching in your Dragon. It's not super safe. Sometimes you will still get counter-swapped by a Togekiss like we saw in the previous game. But then you're just hard countered, right? Then you just can't do anything. You could still consider switching in Gyarados though. It is really up to you. Either one works. They have a Snorlax as well. I'm surprised they didn't bring in the Snorlax versus my Kommo-o. I know I can close combat that, but if they just shield that up, like I'm sure Snorlax gets pretty close here. I'm just gonna shield this up, because if it's a superpower, I die. And this Magnezone could still be very useful against the Machamp. It comes in now, and I can just Mirror Shot it. This will take a shield and hopefully drop its attack. It'd be quite nice. Doesn't drop its attack, but does take a shield. I bring in the Gary. This Machamp has quite a bit of energy already. So this could definitely be a Rock Slide, and he's over that as well. So I definitely gotta throw my Aqua Tail in a second here. Gonna throw it here. Actually wasn't really counting, but this ends up being exactly at the next Rock Slide. So pretty good timing by me, but honestly, it was mostly just luck. Gets a Rock Slide, doesn't knock me out. I feel like that might have been an undercharge, which is smart because this Snorlax to win has to farm down my Gyarados and then get to the superpower versus my Magnezone. But since my timer is almost up, I could just crunch here, switch out, get to the Mirror Shot, and this should knock out the Lax. And it is actually a very close game, because I'm pretty sure he was like 1 or 2 licks away from the superpower. So GG, Florges Lead. That's super solid for my zone. In comes Snorlax. I saw multiple safe switch Snorlax today, and every time it comes in, you just want to wild charge and then dip into either your Gyarados or your Kommo-o. I went to the Kommo-o, but maybe I kind of realized that this might have been a mistake, because it's very likely Excadrill in the back with this lineup, and in that case Kommo-o feels a little safer because they can't Rock Slide. And besides that, Gyarados actually has some play versus Florges, because Aqua Tails actually do damage where close combats are resisted. So even though they're resisted though, look at that. Actually, that puts on some hurting. Look at that. It's already in the red because of close combats from Kommo-o. Actually, kind of crazy. It's pretty good though. I'm just gonna come in zone and start pumping out some sparks, getting some energy, taking the moon. I don't want to use shields. Again, I expect Excadrill in the back. I need all my shields for Gyarados. I need all my shields. That Florges built up a little bit of energy, so I'm pretty sure they're close to a Disarming Voice, which is not great. Good thing is, Gyarados does win the 2s versus Excadrill if you switch fast enough. You need 3 Aqua Tails to kill, but they have 2 shields, because 2 get shielded of course, and the 3rd doesn't, and they die. And they need 4 Rock Slides. They drill rampated me. Wait, wait, I just noticed that now. They throw Durans to get my shield? Oh, that's so funny. They actually Duran me. Oh my god. But yeah, if you switch fast enough, you get it. If you switch slow, you don't. Because 3 Aqua Tails, that's 18 turns. Actually, no, it's not 18 turns, it's 35 turns. And 4 Durans is 40 turns. So if you switch like 5 turns late, which is it's not that much, you lose. But we switched fast enough, we killed it, and that's a GG. Yo, Togekiss Lead, I'm very happy to see that, but then in comes a Primarina with Waterfall as the safe switch. I really love this Pokemon. That is actually, I love this lineup, or I mean, I don't love Togekiss in the line, but I do love this lineup. That's a fun idea actually. Primarina safe switch behind a Charmer Lead. You know, Primarina, even though it's a Fairy type with Waterfall, it can actually beat some of the Steel types, so, or some of the main Charm monsters. So it's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And I don't really have much for it. So, you know what? I'm just going to come in Kommo-o here. Too close combat it. And then I get taken out by this Togekiss. There was some insane damage right there. That was some really insane charm damage. I'm just going to bring in the zone here. Hopefully I can get to the wild charge before they dip out. And I can. And this will knock out the Togekiss. And then hopefully it's not another Fairy type. If it's another Fairy type in the back, I'm pretty screwed. But it's an Incineroar. That is insane. My opponent is running some really good spice. Actually, I could see this team working. I mean, I kind of hard countered it, so it didn't work against me. But I could see this working because Incineroar is kind of an Steel answer as well. So you kind of got Togekiss, then Primarina, which is like a halfway Steel answer, and then Incineroar, which is like a full Steel answer. So it's a pretty cool team. GG. Alright, a Garchomp Lead. In comes Mamoswine. When I save switch in my Gyarados. The Garchomp is also mutual, by the way, which makes it better for my Kommo-o if I keep shields. Avalanche doesn't kill me, so I'm just gonna let it go, and I can probably shield one and farm down afterwards. But it's a freaking Stone Edge. And I die. My god. Stone Edge Mamo is insane. I need to farm down with Kommo-o though. But now in comes a Dragon Breath Gyarados, and this is, yeah, this isn't great. If I would have just shielded my Gyarados, I would have been able to farm down, get switch advantage, and then I would have had my Kommo-o versus the Garchomp, and my Magnezone versus Gyarados, and all would have been well. All would have been well, but it's not well. It is not well, because there's still a Garchomp in the back. So I definitely lose this. Let's see how much this crunch does. Yeah, it does a lot. And I even get the drop, so there's no shot. GG. Alright, Gyarados Lead, super solid. In comes another Snorlax, save switch, Shadow, Snorlax. I'm just gonna wild charge straight away to do a bunch of damage or grab a shield. Either way, that's fine. It opens up the path for Kommo-o, which I bring in now, and I'll try to farm down this Lax. I'm pretty sure they get to 2 body slams here, but that's super fine. Yeah, they do. Now, close combat actually does more against the Gyarados than Dragon Claw does. And I'm not going to be able to get to 2 Dragon Claws unless it's a Waterfall Gyarados. So I'm just going to check what moveset it is. It's Dragon Breath, so I'm going to go for close combat straight away. That also gives him a little less farm of my Kommo-o, which is a good thing, because I don't want this thing getting to like multiple Aqua Tails versus my zone. I've now put it in a range where I can probably Spark down, or maybe throw one Mirror Shot and kill it. Get to the move here. I don't want to shield, because I think it's very likely it's Extra Drill on the back, and if it's Extra Drill, I definitely want my shields for Gyarados. I instant switch there, expecting them to switch out in the Extra Drill, and this kind of secures me the win, because again, if they get like a 2-much shot advantage, which is basically 5 turns, a little less, then they win this matchup. But because I switched instantly, they shouldn't be able to, unless they catch the move on Gyarados. That's another thing I have to be very careful of. I cannot make them catch the 3rd Aqua Tail on their Gyarados. And once we get there, the timer will be up. So there's always that risk. In comes another Rock Slide, and now I gotta be really careful with timing my move to make sure he can't catch it. Even over farm a little bit. I wait like a millisecond to make sure I see his Mudshot come through. Then I throw the Aqua Tail, that kills. I bring in the zone, I Wild Charge the Gyarados, and it is another win. GG. Magnezone putting in so much work in all these games. Actually, if there's one Pokemon I can really recommend of this team, it is the Magnezone, especially Shadow if you have it. It's just so incredibly solid. Just make sure to pair it with some extra drill counters. And Kommo-o really good as well. I think it put in a lot of work. It definitely put in a lot of work. I don't think it's like super amazing though. It lacks some stats compared to Pokemon like Dragonite and Metagross, for example, which means it doesn't always have a lot of damage output. Definitely a fun one though, so if you happen to have a good IV1, make it, have some fun with it, but if you don't, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Good luck with battles.